Yeah, so hello everyone listening. You may have some doubts, but you actually listen to the WeSpin Recipes podcast, and it's a special one. It's me, Andrew Apanov here, but I'm not alone. I'm with my business partners, Fred and Corey. And if we're actually releasing the video, so you may actually even see us. So say hello.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, WeSpin.
It was
people.
Corey and Fred.
We should have introduced. Yeah, hello, Fred here.
Yeah, so I think it makes sense to do a bit of an intro because it's mainly just me talking on this podcast. We had Corey doing some interviews, but actually never featured you, Fred. Yeah.
No, I guess I'm the least liked of your coworkers.
I think WeSpinners know you, but not necessarily all our listeners. So do you mind, a little bit of background on yourself and
what
sure. You're doing here?
What am I doing? Yeah, that's a good question. Well, I've been Andrew and I have been working together for quite a few years now. We met digitally several years ago, and then we developed a strong friendship, business relationship kind of partnership, and we've been venturing together on these things ever since.
Several years ago, something like 10 years ago?
It's been almost 10 years, yeah. I started back when he was at Ultimate Guitar still, and I was writing little music reviews. And then he launched Dotted Music, and he invited me to join to be a part of the agency. And then we launched WeSpin, and WeSpinners know me as I try to get partnerships that can help you guys out in developing your music careers.
Yeah,
amongst other things I do.
Yeah, so lots of you've been here with pretty much like from the beginning of the Dotted Music, and like the blog and the agency and the WeSpin. So Corey, and just a few words on your, because I don't think we actually did a podcast where we talked with you about something. It was just like you doing the interviews. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm Corey. I've done 2, I think, maybe podcasts, WeSpin podcast. But so essentially I'm the CMO of Dotted Music, and I'm not as active in the WeSpin forums and community as I would like to be, but maybe some of the WeSpinners would know me just from past posts or whatever. But a lot of the time I'm usually doing stuff agency wise. I would like to be more involved. I say this all the time to you guys, but I would like to be more involved in WeSpin, but much of my time is taken up doing agency things for clients and marketing campaigns and things like that. So that's why every once in a while you'll hear me on a podcast, but generally speaking, it's usually Andrew.
So finally, I really wanted to do a podcast like that for a while, and now actually I didn't mention this. So we're sitting here in Berlin, in a really nice loft apartment. We're doing some kind of a business retreat kind of thingy.
Corporate retreat,
a work
meetup,
retreat.
Which is pretty cool because
we all live in different countries really, and we're a location independent company. It's important to point that out.
I wonder if do a lot of people know that we're
actually, it's good because we have the New York address and the footer of the newsletter, and many kind of think that we have hot headquarters
in New York City.
Which is kind of not exactly the case now. Here's the truth, that we are much cooler than that.
It's pretty cool being in New York, mind you, but
just kidding, obviously, kind of not too much, but it's really we have got East Coast as well, but in Canada, and so I'm in Europe, mainly in Poland. So basically we are doing this podcast in a different format, no editing. How did you suggest calling it, uncut version?
The uncut version, that's good.
And we are going to just talk a little bit about what we do and our new project, which will be revealed here. So I wanted to mention something, that we are releasing these podcasts pretty much the next day after it's been recorded. So today is Thursday, and I'm just committing to release it on Friday. I just have to do it. So Yeah, I mean, we talked about like you mentioned WeSpin a little bit. Do you think it makes sense to mention something about the agency specifically and kind of what we do? Because I really never talked about, like, it will be the episode number 48, I think. It's been like quite a few episodes, and I mentioned a few things about WeSpin, but never really talked about the agency that much. Although, yeah, we've got quite a few subscribers to this podcast who may not be aware of what we do and how it's all organized. So I guess I'll just remind that, just to avoid confusion, that we are Data Music, and it's the company, and it's the blog, and the agency, and WeSpin is a project by Data Music, essentially. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, why am I the only one talking?
So we're Data Music,
yeah,
right? We're a blog, so I'm sure a lot of people have either seen or read the blog. There's WeSpin. There's Stand Above the Noise,
which is kind of on pause right now.
Well, but the point here is that these are all different projects of Data Music.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's kind of Data Music is the core to everything, pretty much. Like, and the rest are projects of ours.
So what is Data Music, Corey?
It's a digital marketing agency and a blog.
Yeah.
So we do digital marketing for pretty much everything. I'm not going to say everything and anything, but independent artists, labels, a few music apps we've worked with. We do a lot of different things, from doing brand identities to doing different creative marketing campaigns and really helping artists and apps build their user base or their fan base, and helping them create awareness of their product, whether it's an app or an album or a video, whatever it is.
And what we are kind of proud of is that we focus on music, so it's important to, like, not even entertainment industry, but specifically music. Mm-hmm. So record labels, managers, and mainly just artists directly, and now music tech startups as well, but it's just all about music and all about digital stuff, so we don't do lots of traditional kind of thingy, and yeah, so although we do also like PI, a little bit of that, and can do ad management, and yeah, so it's a wide range of different services, right? So yeah, I mean, we're not selling our services here. It's just to give some
background on.
Yeah, because it's important. I get this asked via email from time to time about. So there is a bit of confusion, which is totally understandable because it can be confusing with so many names. But yeah, so just kind of clarifying to those who are listening, who have been listening to the show, but don't maybe necessarily see the whole picture, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what about the my suggestion, just so we don't lose too many listeners by now, is to reveal.
It's too late. They're all gone.
Well, no, it's really, maybe if someone skipped actually, so it's also an option. So yeah, I mean, unless you have other propositions, we can reveal our new project here.
Definitely.
Which is called, Fred, what is it called?
WeSpin Tech.
It's a really cool name, right?
Yeah, so it's exactly as you may figure that it is. We've been dabbling a lot and seeing what's been happening on the tech side, apps, websites, and everything that for musicians, artists, anything related to the music industry. So we thought we should put together some kind of a project that encompasses all these things, so that artists or labels, managers, they have a go-to place to see what the latest tech advancements or tools or projects are.
Yeah, so there is pretty much nothing like that. So there is a number of projects who cover music tech scene, but I'm going to, like, we haven't decided on like we haven't finalized the tagline, like sort of like the official one. All for the project is pretty much ready and will be live very soon. There is so it's possible to sign up to updates right away, because we've got a landing page at tech.wespin.co. Yeah, so I just said that we have to put it up by the time the podcast is out, which is pretty much like the case. Yeah, so it's possible to sign up by email to receive updates.
Can I also mention that that WeSpin Tech itself is actually built on a pretty cutting edge app called Telescope, and it's a Meteor app, so it runs off Node, and it's pretty well built, and there's pretty solid community, and the developer Sasha, who's put in a lot of time and work into kind of developing this core app called Telescope. So, it's really cutting edge, it's really new stuff, and we thought that it was appropriate that something that's focused on, technology in itself should be built on new technology.
Right?
Yeah.
So, just wanted to kind of throw that in there.
Now you know who's the tech guy in the company. No, it's a good point. And so speaking of so you mentioned Telescope, and I was like, my point was that like how I present it and describe it, it's a product hunt for music apps. Unfortunately, not everyone in the music industry necessarily know what product hunt is, but it's just a very, very popular platform, especially among like startups and I know designers and quite a lot of just consumers who want to discover new applications and Internet of Things and different like gadgets and stuff. It's all on Product Hunt. We're doing a similar thing. We're not like hiding it. It's not the platform itself is not a new concept, but it's a community and a platform to discover and discuss new music services and apps. And we may actually talk about different kind of tools available in the industry out there right here. So, but yeah, the idea is to focus on the music tech space and highlight interesting projects, and it will be possible to upvote the stuff that you like, which is crucial. So everyone has a voice, and it's possible to submit
a voting system.
The voting system, kind of like a rate thingy. Maybe it will be more like familiar to many listeners.
Yeah,
not Product Hunt, but
yeah, I really like that aspect, like that interactive aspect for our listeners now, our followers. They'll be able to interact and tell us what they like about the products that are featured on there. So I really like that component. That your input matters as well, and what you think is good out there in terms of the new music tech space going on.
Yeah. So that's the idea. So it should be something that like it's designed to be useful for for musicians in the first place, because it can. I mean, there is a ton of stuff that is coming out every month in the music tech space, like lots of different tools for musicians and so on. So we've got at WeSpin on the forum, we've got this tools subforum where WeSpinners can kind of create threads and ask about the new tools. And I mean, we see that there is a need, and like providing feedback about like if this is a real thing, if it works or not, if it's worth the investment, even if it's free, like if it's really effective, if it's worth my time, and so on. So it's something that can be done right on this platform with the comments, for example, so you can provide feedback. And hopefully it will be interesting enough to developers and creators of different tools as well. So yeah, this is like WeSpin Tech, product hunt for music apps. The tagline is subject to change. So we may, we'll see. But it's pretty much ready. So we are committing publicly here to launch it soon. So yeah, shall we talk about the kind of
what's out there.
stuff so and what kind of stuff we are going to cover on this platform as well, because we are going to introduce some limits for so far how we've been seeing it. We're not going to do like coverage of blogs, like music review blogs or even industry blogs, so it's focused on technology. And so we're on the same page here.
Yes.
So there is we may be changing these things. So if you're listening to this show like half a year after we launched WeSpin Tech and you see something there which you're like, we won't add this, but you can see it actually there. We'll
that's not necessarily just like a content aggregator. So like that's why blogs and things like that won't necessarily be shared. Because that would just be gathering the content essentially. So we don't want to just post to like reviews and things like that. We want to actually show the actual app and link to it or do whatever and have a discussion about it too.
And it's sort of like a filtering system. First of all, if an app gets on the platform, we approved it. It means that we approved it. Not everything will be getting there, so it's already something worth your attention probably. But then you can see the amounts of comments and upvotes. The amounts of upvotes can be kind of low at first when we launch, which is absolutely normal. But then you can see like what people have been upvoting. So what's the thing that you want to look into? And we are going to introduce some categories as well, so it's easy to navigate through. Like, I want an e-commerce platform. Show me the options, basically. So these are all the ideas, and we hope that it will be useful. So I would like to talk about a bit about the different directions that we can explore there.
Okay.
You sure you don't want some more Red Bull and coffee?
So why don't you guide us through the directions?
So I always see it as two global directions. One is the applications and tech startups that are mainly designed for consumers. I recently read a blog about the word consume and consumer, so I don't really like it anymore. So it's kind of consume means kind of destroy something, roughly speaking. But anyway, I just start to remove. I want to remove
what's
this
your
word.
alternative?
Users. Actually, users is much better. And
I think the word consumer itself is starting to die out.
Yeah, so it's kind of one of those.
Just like how they used to use, what was it? Mass culture as opposed to popular culture. Mass culture was kind of had a negative connotation to it a little bit.
Even customer.
Yeah.
So you made a switch to client.
That's true.
Yeah. So we can talk about listeners here, and also just users, because artists can be users as well, but listeners. So, and it's a huge industry. We're not going to go into too many details, but we have to cover this direction. So it's digital music stores, streaming platforms, which is obviously a hot topic right now, and all the everything related to the live scene, because all the you could buy tickets online, right? So this is
the one that just popped in my head about what's the name of that app that with the check-ins for the festivals and things?
Check-ins for so you check in on because I'm not sure if you just referred to something that I don't know about.
I can't remember the name of it, but it's like festivals have been using it to kind of increase revenue, so you can
a Foursquare for festivals kind of thing.
Kind of, but so for instance, maybe it was Bonnaroo or one of those that you could buy the bracelet.
Yeah.
And your payment information was attached to this bracelet. It was like RFID or something. I don't know what specifically. And there was an app on your phone that talked to it. So, but you could check in at different places throughout the festival. And if you got X amount of check-ins, you could win
something.
Yeah, there was some kind of giveaway or something like that. But then you could also purchase things with this app. And there was different different like media that would come up on their phones when like second screen media. So like if they're say like I don't know, Pretty Lights was playing or something, second screen media would come up on their phone, and it was all through this one app, and it was I can't remember the name of it. I wish I could remember the name of this.
If you find it, we just add it to the show notes later, so no worries about that. You can do it later. But that's a cool. Yeah, and actually, so this so-called Internet of Things direction is really cool. When I was at Medium this year, and there was this whole section at the Medium Lab competition, and so for example, the 3D live video streams when a special thing is put on stage with several GoPros. And you basically can choose what exactly you want to look at, so you can move around the camera on your computer and kind of stuff, and this kind of thing. So it's all, and obviously like just it's actually more niche. By the way, I'm not sure if I told you about, but the company that won the Medium Lab competition in this category was this bracelet for like listening to bass heavy music, essentially. So it's like it kind of vibrates in this particular manner when like in sync with music for feeling the bass, and it kind of looks silly, but everyone who's trying it, unfortunately didn't have, or I was too lazy to try it out. But
so what is it?
So it's like a bracelet, like a band. Sort of, yeah, but it's doing like different types of vibrations, not just one. And everyone who was like testing it, like they were just absolutely amazed at the feeling. So it's like you feel it with your body, you feel music with your body, kind of thing.
That's interesting. If it vibrates, I feel like there's a nice crossover with a whole other industry.
I mean, it's not. I mean,
without naming anything, but
I mean, I think there is something there in that niche. I've read some news about, so there is something like syncing with music. Yeah, it's been done already. It's not something we are going to put up on WeSpin Tech. So yeah, but we went just a bit more niche here. But I mean, just speaking about the big industry with lots of money, it's the whole licensing and music purchasing thing and ticketing, because so commissions and stuff. And the area that has been just exploding lately, I would name it like music discovery, which is usually used, but there is a lot of new tools and apps like with playlists, and just the streaming platforms focus on adding new features to help listeners discover new music, because when you get access to everything, you don't know what to listen to in this case. So when you have an unlimited access to pretty much all the music that has ever been created.
Yeah, where do you start and how do you go to the next?
So this is a big theme.
Well, a lot of them are like playlist apps.
Yeah, so I mean,
they're saying like playlists are like the next radio.
Yeah, I could see that, and I guess it'll depend on if it's an algorithm that creates a playlist for you or if it's user generated.
And those algorithms are important because I don't know if I'm good at it, but like one service isn't very good at it. But when I go and use Spotify, because I stopped using Spotify for a little bit and switched to another service, and I was so used to the Spotify algorithm playlist algorithm, and then I switched to this other service, and I would go to the playlist and they were like, not very good, and it kind of bummed me out a little, because at least on Spotify at the time, the algorithm was such that I did discover new music. If I just picked like a random playlist or whatever, I would find new music. But when I went to this other service, it wasn't like that. So, it's important to just kind of mention that those algorithms are super important, especially when it comes to playlists.
Yeah, that's true. True. Yeah, and so it's oftentimes the mix of human creation and algorithms.
And I was gonna say, and then there's people like Apple Music's doing it, I think, with
big accents on him.
I know that Zane he's part of the radio.
The radio, yeah.
But I'm pretty sure he has if not him,
playlists.
yeah. There's like curated playlists by people, like specific people. I don't know if Zane does or not. But they're big focus on playlists.
Yeah, that's true. So this is a big area for sure, and I've been thinking quite a lot about how much we want to cover that area, because it's like exploding and everything, and we'll most probably will be doing something in that direction, like listeners facing apps with WeSpin Tech. But like I just want to emphasize that, like, first of all, we are thinking about artists and them getting something useful out of the platform. But if you're an artist, you need to know what's the next hot playlist thing is, because you may want to come there, create a playlist, and while it's not way too popular, get featured, and then it gets bigger and you're in the spotlight kind of thing. So you need to be aware of these things. Plus, we may of course get some, well, we can get some users who are just listeners, but most probably pretty much everyone who is listening to us now either industry professionals or artists, mainly artists, and like electronic music producers or group bands or just solo artists, songwriters. So yeah, it's still important to be aware of all these things, and so yeah, it's kind of important to also know the trends, how like the streaming platforms are developing, for example, and so on. I read somewhere recently that someone predicted that by 2012 most of the streaming platforms will be gone. I'm absolutely confident it will be the case.
By
2012 or something, like most of the streaming platforms that exist today will be gone by like in 5 years.
Do you mean 2017? Or wait,
2020? I mean,
you read it in 2012.
I mean, no, 12. I said 12. I mean 20. I meant
20.
20.
Yeah, okay, there we go.
Yes.
I got confused. Okay, so more streaming.
Yeah.
So what's gonna take place from the
maybe there will be more, just fewer players, because right now it's a hot space and a lot of like parties fighting for audience. Because actually, it's interesting that we are going crazy about this streaming thing, and it seems like absolutely like taking over the world, which is true, but it happens a bit slower than people in the industry tend to think, because actually if you look into the amount of people using these platforms, it's not massively accepted
adopted.
yet.
Well, the industry as a whole has always moved slowly, or transitioned slowly, let's say that.
Yeah. So I mean, we think about like all these people using Spotify, Apple Music, or whatever, but well, with Apple Music, have good chance of reaching big like audience through devices. But
I think too, like right now, you're still at the point where there's people, the digital natives and the digital immigrants, where the younger generation, the 15 to 24, grew up with this. They're used to it.
Yeah.
Like, this is streaming is just normal to them.
Yeah.
Whereas you talk about somebody in their 40s, this isn't. They're
listening
used
to radio.
Yeah. So we're still, and I think that might be why that music especially transitions slowly, because like those different demographics are so wildly different when it comes to technology. And music's always had a close relationship with technology.
Yeah.
Like since the beginning. So I think personally that's going to take a while to really fully
integrate, and get adopted in terms of crossing over several segments of the demographics.
Exactly.
Kind of thing. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just important to keep this in mind, because it's something that major labels forget oftentimes. It seems requiring a lot from these like platforms and wanting like money, as it's always been with major labels, instead of trying to see in like more longer term, and like because these platforms like Spotify and so on, they focus on growth, because this is crucial. There will be much more money in it once it really grows to truly kind of worldwide massive adoption.
Right.
So it's just important to. So knowing about these things, I don't necessarily say that every musician needs to know about all the latest gossip news about streaming platforms, but it's important to know what's happening there. And I think it's unacceptable to be this uneducated artist and just
Be in the
just
dark.
blaming being in the dark or blaming all these new things because it's kind of there are some cases where people blame these platforms for knowing how it all works really well, like this Swedish punk guy recently who just removed all his music from, he sued the label to remove all his music from Spotify, which is a bit ironical because he's from Sweden, you know. And I mean, there are people who really don't want their music to be on streaming platforms, but just passion them, like talking about them not paying out enough like royalties and so on. You need to like really see the big picture and where it's all moving before making such conclusions that it's bad.
Well, but to that point though, and by no means whatsoever am I defending Spotify, but a lot of these times when you hear about major label artists, well, it has to do with their deal. You know that the record label gets paid from these streaming services, but what does your contract say? What is your royalties on? And how does your contract designate Spotify or digital streaming? Because you get paid differently for all those things. So again, by no means am I trying to defend any of them, but like you said, the bigger picture.
Yeah.
A lot of them want their stuff taken off because I'm only getting 0.0003 cents a stream or whatever it is, a minuscule fraction of it. But at the same time, that's just their cut of the overall payout from these streaming services. So
it's a very good point, and I recommend everyone listening to this show to also listen to this podcast episode. I don't remember the name, the number with DQ about alternative payout model. I think he's actually going to cover it on a number of music conferences this and next year, applied for South by Southwest and so on, and maybe you will actually
I think I'll see him at
I think it's the
Music Policy Summit.
Yeah. So maybe he'll be covering it.
I know he's at one of them that I'm going to. I can't remember which one.
Yeah. So it's interesting how like there are alternative methods of paying out, but most probably like major labels will not accept them. But anyway, it's an interesting topic which we won't be going to like too deep into, I think. But it's I just wanted us to emphasize the importance of being educated about this stuff. Yeah. And so and we definitely not cover everything here. I mean, mention all the different types of platforms and startups. We just try to cover the key ones, and there is a big category of services that